Daniel Bryan had to let go of that no lock, or he had his shoulders counted down.
And Mysterio now with Bryan in position. Mysterio looking to go to the well a second time.
Gonna dial it up twice.
This time it works. Rey Mysterio with Bryan in trouble. Mysterio looking to drop the dive from the top rope.
Incoming. Oh no!
And Daniel Bryan off the miss by Mysterio. Quickly into the no lock. Now he's got it in. Now he's got it in, and Mysterio taps out. You think Booker T and Teddy Long are impressed?
Oh, without a doubt. That was very impressive. Daniel Bryan with a victory over Rey Mysterio, who's already in it.
You gotta be kidding me! What? The world's strongest man, Mark Henry, is back!
Let's get out of here. Everybody, get out of here.
Daniel Bryan shocked! And Daniel Bryan sent into the barricade head first.
I told you to get out of here.
Former world champion. Bryan took the title from him. And now Mark Henry.
Run, Rey.
Rey can't do anything. Rey was decimated by the no lock. Mark Henry stalking Rey Mysterio.
Oh no.
Oh my God. Rey Mysterio's no clue what's going on. No! Mark Henry with a running power slam. A bone rattling.
No. Rey is completely helpless. Look, he's like a rag doll.
Oh my God. Mark Henry's 400 pounds. And here's Sin Cara. Sin Cara. That's Rey Mysterio's friend and his tag team partner. Sin Cara. Oh, and in there. Yeah, strongest slam.
Oh no.
Look at the scowl on the face of Henry.
And Sin Cara just destroyed. And I don't think Mark Henry is finished with Rey Mysterio yet. It's enough.
Do something here. Somebody get out here and do something. He's going to squash Mysterio. Oh, my God. That's what I do. That's what I do. That's what I do.
Henry's screaming, that's what I do.
He's not through yet. Mark Henry, for some reason, chose this moment to make some sort of statement.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
The Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey, holy yeah.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon Derry.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Really? Yeah!
Hello and welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you, talking a whole bunch of news in this past week in wrestling. The Hall of Pain back open for business as Mark Henry making a return to the WWE for the first time in quite a few months after taking some time off to recover from some various surgeries and already making a significant impact both on Raw and on SmackDown. And in case you missed it last night, Booker T made a match between Randy Orton and Mark Henry. If Henry won, he'd be in the Elimination Chamber match coming up a week from tomorrow to challenge to be the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. Still a couple of months away, but about 8 weeks away, I want to say. But they're already looking to set quite a few things up so far. Elimination Chamber, got 4 matches set, at least mostly set. Of course, the Elimination Chamber match, it'll determine the number 1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania coming up on April 7th. You have 4 of the 6 competitors set for the Elimination Chamber match: Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, and Mark Henry. 2 slots are still open, and I would imagine that they would be determined this coming week. I would hope they don't do a surprise thing, although surprises are always good, as we found out at the Royal Rumble. The other 3 matches so far set for the card: Alberto Del Rio defending the World Championship against The Big Show. And then you've got a 6-man tag team match, which hasn't been decided as an Elimination Chamber match, although I'd kind of be intrigued to see it, because it would almost be like the old War Games matches from the NWA and WCW, only in Elimination Chamber style. John Cena teaming up with Ryback and Sheamus to take on the 3 members of the Shield: Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose. That should certainly be a good one. And, of course, the WWE Championship. The Rock defending the title against CM Punk, although Punk's still claiming that he never lost it thanks to the chicanery at the Royal Rumble, and Punk still stating that his streak is intact and would be at 447 days as champion, although that is an unofficial statement pretty much made by CM Punk. Lots of news to talk about this week. Something carrying over from last week, more on the Tammy Sitch developments. Also, Hasselhoff and Bischoff. We'll get to that in just a little bit. TNA, they suspended the gut check challenge voting. We'll get into plenty of that coming up in the second segment. Also, just after we went off the air last week, Kid Cash confirming via his Twitter page that he is no longer working for TNA. He wrote, quote, "As of today, I'm no longer with TNA Wrestling. I'm available for all worldwide bookings. Contact me on Twitter or at PWA Bookings for info." So, Kid Cash looks like he's ready and available for any bookings, as he's no longer with TNA. Speaking of TNA, Reaction is returning. A lot of news coming up for them, and also some news for ECW fans. They've got a movie coming their way, and The Nature Boy gets licked. Well, we'll talk about that coming up a little bit later as well. That plus a whole bunch of news. We'll get into that coming up in a bit. First, let's get to the phones. Ron from Levittown's been hanging on. Ron, welcome to the program.
How you doing this week?
Not too bad. What's on your mind?
Well, you forgot to mention one thing, and that surprises me, too. It's Bruno Sammartino being elected to the Hall of Fame.
Well, I was saving that for a little bit. I actually was going to get pretty in-depth into that, but yes, in case you missed it, Bruno Sammartino. For years, he had said, "I want nothing to do with the with the WWE Hall of Fame." He's gone as much and said so on this program. Back when Eric was hosting it, I know he's talked with him on a couple of occasions, but looks like something changed this time around. It's been long anticipated by all kinds of WWE fans who grew up idolizing the longest reigning champion in wrestling history. I mean, between his 2 reigns, a combined 11 years. That's unheard of. That's like Joe DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak. I mean, that's just one of those seemingly unbreakable records.
Well, that was something that I remember when I had him on the air, and I spoke to him myself, and he said it was a thing with Vince McMahon. That's what he said, he'd never be big. And I don't know. It's got me wondering, is McMahon going to be the one inducting him? After all, their last words were he didn't want anything to do with McMahon or the company anymore.
Well, I
was shocked.
I think that's why pretty much McMahon was kept out of these latest discussions. I mean, from all the news stories that you've seen and heard, it's been Triple H who has been ushering this change. He's been kind of the vocal mouthpiece on this and kind of keeping Vince McMahon out of it because of that past bad blood. I mean, taking a quote from the WWE website, because they interviewed him about it and why he felt that now was the right time to finally enter the Hall of Fame. He said, quote, "Triple H contacted me and started telling me all the things that had changed and everything that was going on with WWE. I started watching it after talking to him, and when I saw it, I was very, very impressed." For Triple H, of course, the Hall of Fame was incomplete without Bruno Sammartino. That's kind of like keeping Wilt Chamberlain and Michael Jordan out of the Basketball Hall of Fame. It's like keeping Wayne Gretzky and Gordie Howe out of the Hockey Hall of Fame. There are just certain Babe Ruth out of the Baseball Hall of Fame. There are just certain names that if they weren't in their respective Hall of Fames, you would think it'd be a complete sham and a mockery. And for a while, that's what WWE's been. Another name that I'm sure is going to be thrown out there now that this monkey is off of WWE's back, now I think a lot of the eyes are going to turn to Macho Man Randy Savage, as they have over the last few years.
That I would like to see. But the fact that, like I said, by going back to Bruno, I mean, I don't know how many people out there besides myself, Dan from Chicago will probably comment about it. But it's just the thing is, Bruno Sammartino, it strikes me as the kind of guy who, when he parted with WWE, that was it. And now, to be, I don't know how the reaction to the Madison Square Garden crowd is going to be to him. Are they going to respect him? Or are they just going to boo him because he waited this long?
Oh, no. That I'm sure there are going to be some people who hold sour grapes, but I'm pretty sure that of the 16, 17,000, however many seats they're going to have available for the Hall of Fame ceremony at Madison Square Garden the night before WrestleMania. I mean, the building is going to come unglued, as Gorilla Monsoon used to say, the late Gorilla Monsoon. The roof is coming off of Madison Square Garden. The roof is literally exploding. I mean, that's going to be the reaction. I mean, it's because it's something that's long overdue. I mean, it would be the same thing if Pete Rose was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. A lot of people would be like, all right, at least it's finally happening. I mean, look at hockey fans with the lockout. I mean, people were like, those greedy so-and-sos, I'm never going to, watch this again. And then that first game, eyes are glued to the television.
Well, I do have a comment that somebody else should be in the Hall of Fame. Now that this has been done, and you're probably going to agree with me on this one. How about Muhammad Ali?
How about who?
Muhammad Ali, at the time, he made himself a big name when Gorilla Monsoon and Muhammad Ali, that's the famous Shea Stadium competition between the two of them. And I think Muhammad Ali probably should be elected to the Hall of Fame. And that would, now that they got Bruno, what else can they do?
Well, here's the only issue with inducting Muhammad Ali. I mean, granted, there are others in the celebrity wing of the WWE Hall of Fame who have done less than Muhammad Ali has. I mean, obviously Muhammad Ali had the classic matches back in the 70s. I mean, you mentioned Gorilla Monsoon. You mentioned Antonio Inoki. Obviously he was the special guest enforcer for the main event at WrestleMania 1. So, I mean, he has had involvement, like I said, more involvement, I think, in wrestling than a lot of the other celebrities. Like Drew. If Drew Carey's in, Muhammad Ali should be in, but I don't know, given his... I don't know if he's necessarily up for giving an induction speech, given how his advanced pugilist Parkinson's is, at this stage of his life.
Yeah, I also want to comment on this Brock Lesnar now. Brock Lesnar, I guess it was seen coming that Brock Lesnar would come back sooner or later, but now I'm seeing his McMahon, because when he gets to McMahon, his McMahon got to have Triple H come out for one more time during WrestleMania.
Well, there's certainly time to set that up, and you're probably going to see more of that after Elimination Chamber a week from tomorrow. That's where you're going to see the heavy push into WrestleMania, and they'll have 7 weeks to get to there. So there'll be a lot of developing storylines for all the matches leading up to WrestleMania on April 7th.
Well, there's also one push that surprised me already. Mark Henry, bringing back Mark Henry, he showed some dominance, and I was like shocked. I was shocked that he had picked up the Great Khali.
Last night on SmackDown, and they don't call him the world's strongest man for nothing.
I mean, he showed me his strength last night, picking him up. I never. It's like that Cesar guy who picked up Great Khali himself, and I never dreamed that. Or maybe Tenzai. I mean, it's like these are heavyweights, and I'm surprised that they put them up like the paper.
Yeah, it's certainly some interesting stuff to say the least. Thanks so much for the call. I'm closing up against a bit of a break here. But one other thing I wanted to mention a little bit more about Bruno Sammartino. Well, Triple H had some comments about it as well. Want to pop that down there, Nick? There we go. Nick Cataldi filling in for Starship Matt, answering the phones on the boards, all that fun stuff. It's gonna be a lot of fun here, I think. I noticed you were chuckling during the.
I couldn't help it.
You couldn't help it?
No, I couldn't help it.
Want to elaborate?
Yes, I never understood why the guy with the greatest hands in heavyweight history jumped into the ring with a 400-pound guy he couldn't lay a glove on. Okay? In other words, he threw all these weak punches, didn't hit him once, and Monsoon was able to grab him and throw him around. Listen, if Ellie wanted to hit you, he hit you.
Oh yeah, no, he knew it was a lot of showmanship.
Oh, undoubtedly, I'm just having fun.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
But I did think the actual match between Inoki and Ali was a joke. It just wasn't, anything to really.
Yeah, it was to sell tickets.
Well, that and they sort of, to be honest with you, sort of restricted Inoki a little bit. They put gloves on his hands. I mean, what could he really do? I mean,
Yeah, you're putting boxing gloves on a wrestler. Kind of limits a lot of what they can do.
Exactly. So, I mean, in all fairness, I mean, not that I'm saying that was Ali's doing, just, I don't know. It
gave Ali a bit of an advantage.
Well, so Inoki laid on his back for 6 rounds and kicked him, and it was a draw. I mean,
Oh, yeah. No,
this wasn't very,
A lot of hype leading to lackluster.
Right.
A lackluster finish.
In fact, the Ali Monsoon battle was better.
Wow. But back to Gorilla. See, you got me thinking Gorilla Monsoon now because you were just talking about. Back to Bruno Sammartino. Triple H. He went on to say, "I love the history of this business. Without the history, there's no tomorrow. To look back on the history of WWE, one of the most important figures in the long story of where this all came from wasn't recognized, and that was Bruno." And we actually have a little further development on track 2 on the disc there, if you want to bring that up, Nick. Sammartino himself had...
what do I hit the button here?
Sammartino had further comments...
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
Of course.
Here we go.
You sounded like Sarchik here. He had further comments from this interview, courtesy of KDKA TV News in Pittsburgh.
I'm doing a good job then, okay?
There you go.
That's right. That's when he had... what was it, All-Star Wrestling out there years ago? Or, Bruno and DiNucci and
Dominic DiNucci, yeah.
And Bill Cardell was the announcer. Anyway, you want to hear that. Here.
Sammartino has long refused entry into pro wrestling's Hall of Fame.
Will it be different this time around? Dave Crawley has the story.
That name drew sellout crowds to Madison Square Garden to see the man who reigned 11 years as pro wrestling champion.
A replica of the championship belt that, by the way, Dave, I won in Madison Square Garden 50 years ago.
50 years.
1963.
At 77, the North Hills legend has slowed down a little.
I train 6 days a week. I do 5 miles of road work 3 days a week, and I do the other 3 days I pump iron.
He built muscle the hard way, setting a world bench press record in 1959. Years later, he's a role model for those who followed. But Sammartino repeatedly turned down offers to be inducted into the World Wrestling Entertainment Hall of Fame.
There's so much steroid and unfortunately even other drugs involved, and I was very appalled by that. I hated to see the game that I'd been in for all those years come down to that, and we started having some deaths reported and so forth due to these drugs.
He challenged the industry to come clean. Pro Wrestling responded, hiring Pittsburgh neurosurgeon Joseph Maroon as medical director.
And they do very strict drug testing, and just from watching it now, I can see that these guys are not on drugs.
And this time, when the Hall of Fame came calling about induction in April,
being that they made those changes, now that they want me in there and they're so badly, I absolutely accept it because they did what I wanted them to do.
Which may be Bruno Sammartino's biggest win of all. Dave Crawley, KDKA, TV News.
Congrats to Bruno Sammartino. joining a heck of a class so far. I mean, between Mick Foley and Trish Stratus, now joining Bruno Sammartino. I know I'm forgetting a fourth person. I'm sure somebody's going to...
Nick Cataldi.
Yes, in the WWE Hall of Fame. I don't know necessarily about all that. Yeah, we'll see. We'll take care of some business. We'll get to Eric, who's been hanging on, and we've got some more news and more fun and more insanity all here on Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.